Get this to 5,000 likes, my people. 1,000 people coming free. Big news, breaking news for Ninja Man right now, phone my people. Good news continues to pour in. Video will be provided. Subscribe to the channel. Today's guidance Saturdays. Listen to this.
This single song by Ninja Man stopped political violence in Jamaica. And I know it is hard to believe. And I know it is hard to understand. If you did not live through it, it's hard, difficult for you to understand the power, the sheer power of music. And it has never before been acknowledged. And so 119 is coming to give Ninja Man his flowers. Ninja Man, whatever you're doing in that cell or in that prison yard right now, take your flowers, son. There were so many violent clashes between PNP supporters and JLP supporters.
I didn't know that he had this kind of influence.
Crowd of JLP supporters and crowd of PNP supporters take on each other regularly. Head bust up, face mash up, foot broke. These were the things that were happening in our country. Lest we forget. Lest we fail to remember how far we have come from. Ninja, me don't know what you do. Me don't know if you're guilty or not. How would they say you do? But one thing I know, it is very, very sad that a man like you who called for peace and got peace through a single song. That is how powerful Ninja Man's voice was. Ninja Man was the biggest thing. Ninja Man had a whole lot of influence.
I'm coming freedom.
And so when him say Jamaicans should come together as one, this song ring out night and day right around Jamaica. And it brought the warring factions together. It has never before been said by anyone except a gentleman that I saw on social media saying it. And so let us give the praises to Ninja Man, and let it be a lesson for these artists now. Them artists you know, where all them a sing about is bang the line, chopping, girl, car, money, clothes, watch, jewelry. That's not how music is supposed to be.
Welcome back, everybody. No, this is news that Paula Llewellyn did not want to hear. This is definitely news that the DPP is not set to welcome, especially now that she's on her way out. You understand? She celebrated by saying that this was a hard fight case. That is the prosecution. There are so many discrepancies in the court system, ultimately, which led to Ninja Man being freed. There are so many mistakes that Justice Sykes and many others are pointing to, including Ninja Man's case. Alright, I made the analogy to you yesterday. While it is that, big up to Ninja Man that he has the resources to fight the system. You understand what I'm saying? And Vibes Cartel as well. See, what happened is, I told you yesterday, this. The system is like a woman getting ready for a date. And the prisoner is the man sitting down in the car. What happened with a lot of these inmates and prisoners is that there are so many times wasted for the courts to correct their errors, while the prisoners are wasting away in prison, while the system itself is trying to perfect how it performs, how it collects evidence, how it's deal with the inefficiencies, and how jury behavior and such natures of things are, being dealt with in the court system. Now, despite Ninja Man's past, which has haunted him personally, whether or not you believe, we all have a constitutional right. Even though the judges were saying that Ninja Man's past had haunted him and it had come back to catch him up, right? Because when we look at the past of Ninja Man, is what is being used to judge him. Now, ultimately, to arrive to this conclusion, the judge ultimately made a statement in court saying that because of his past felonies and his past convictions is what ultimately led to him getting this very steep sentencing. Okay? From firearm charges to assault charges to drug charges to ammunition charges and such is what the judge ultimately said that Ninja Man does not and should not be freed, and he hasn't learned anything. You understand? Because now the judge is saying that at that time before his conviction, he was back in court for something that he did before, which was a firearm. Now, what they're saying is that Ninja Man is held to a higher standard, being that he's a public figure, one, a celebrity, and most of all, his choice of career, which is an artist. You understand? So what the judge then did I say basically is that you get charged for gun already. So why are you back before the courts with a gun charge? Okay? And that is what now the judge ultimately made the decision to send him to prison for life. But after 19 mentions and 21 mismentions, the courts have erred. So now what is it now is that the justices and the prosecutors are now left to say that after all this time, the courts are not doing our sufficient work to convict these men. Make no mistake, it is the court after Justice Sykes gave that perception that Vybz Kartel and these people should be kept in prison. Okay? Make no mistake, the system, if had their way, Vybz Kartel would have still been in prison. But guess what? This is the loopholes that people like Vybz Kartel and Ninja Man are using to defeat the system. See, what is happening is that along the initial stages of the way, how evidence is being obtained, how statements are being given, how jury conduct is, and how the initial build-up of the case, some of the things are illegal, and that when it is presented to a higher authority like the Privy Council, they now dissect it and correct it, and it is now displayed to the wider public that these higher authority courts look down on Jamaica operating at such minor discrepancies. So what I'm saying to you is this: Ninja Man's case, like many others, some of the things that comprise or build up the case are not necessarily properly done, not necessarily properly kept, not necessarily properly given, and rulings and evidence and everything that makes up a case in the Jamaican system are deemed inefficient and insufficient. Because look, it was the very same thing that many people thought that Vybz Kartel paid Livingston Kane to bring back a not guilty verdict, right? Benefited him in the long run, indirectly, because that negative persona of a Ninja Man or a Vybz Kartel, who they now think that these men should be in prison rather than facts, is what caused them to release from their cases. It is almost a waging of one's character on the line. Okay? And we're seeing a clear case of class being used against these men. See, it doesn't matter if you come from the inner city and you manage to make a money and go live uptown, you will always be a ghetto youth. Because if Paula Llewellyn had followed protocols and redo the case, throw away Livingston Kane or have him convicted, Vibes Cartel would have been in prison. But she was so anxious, despite she saying that she's just doing her job. But the overzealous and the over, of course, obsession with this case, which she ultimately said would have bear the burden on her office for a clear error in jury, is what granted Vibes Cartel and Ninja Man their freedom. Because the courts in Jamaica, in some cases, does not necessarily operate or acknowledge one constitutional right. We have more to come, stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. Drop a like on the video, share the video. So far.